Welcome back to the channel, guys. I am the Drunken Goth, and today we are back on the GT4 and we're going to start getting some of these electrical issues sorted. So window, indicators, little bits like that. We're going to start working through them, seeing what the problem is, and seeing if we can get them all sorted.
Very slow to go up, so we'll probably have to rebuild the motor in that door. This side, just again up. Perfect. So rebuilding the window motors on 308s. Now, for a start off, always good to do for reference, as you can see me just doing at the moment, is to get a notepad and pen out and just make a note of where all the wires that go up to the window mechanism, where they all run. Obviously it's good for posterity, so that you know when you're putting it all back together, you know that you're getting it all right. And as you can see there, it just gives you a nice clear map for when you're putting it back together where everything runs. Next up is securing the glass in place. Now, as soon as you start taking off the wires, the clamps that hold the glass onto the wiring pulley system in the door, you've got a very real risk of the glass dropping down and smashing inside the door. So I usually get, as you can see here, we get some tank tape and basically clamp the window in place in the frame at the top, and I've just used this piece of wood here so that if for whatever reason it does start to slip down, it's only going to go that far. It's only going to go a few mil before it hits that piece of wood and it stops it falling all the way down and breaking inside the door. Now, once we've done that, we can start basically taking things off. So we start off by taking the tension off on the pulley system, as well as unbolting the motor from inside the door and the clamps that hold the glass onto the wire pulley system. So as you can see, I'm just going in there with a paint pen and basically just marking where it sits on the wires, just so we know again that we can get it back in the right place. And then we can start dropping those clamps off which hold the glass onto the wire pulley system. Now, the whole job is particularly fiddly working inside the doors like this, and I'll be honest, it's not a job I enjoy. Obviously it's something that you only do it if you have to do it, and obviously with the speed this window was working at, it definitely needs doing. So, but I will say it's not a particularly pleasant job. It's very fiddly. The wires are obviously under a lot of tension, and even when you've finally managed to wrestle the motor out, as we're doing now, you find that over the years people have run the wires in all sorts of different locations. So you're probably going to see in a moment that all of a sudden I have to start taking the speaker out of the door as well, and obviously the spade connectors that should be on there have been discarded again at some point in the past. So I believe in this, basically I just end up clipping the wires, but obviously this is something that will all be sorted out when it all goes back together. There you can see just snipping that off. But then obviously once we've managed to get that wire for the pulley system all fed back through to an area in which we can take it out the door, then that basically is all free. We can take that away and start stripping it down on the bench, getting into the internals, as we already know exactly what we're going to find inside. It's basically going to be the grease that they used back in the 70s and 80s has solidified inside it. But as you can see now, because of the way it's all sort of run inside the door, you do end up having to like take the speaker out, possibly clip some wires. It all gets a little bit fiddly inside there, trying to get everything sorted. But I believe we are just about there, just about got that motor with all the wires out of the way. Obviously just sit the speaker back in there for now, and we should be with the motor complete. There we go, ready to strip down. So once we've got it on the bench as we have now, there isn't a lot to these motors at all. So as you can see, we're just taking off 3 screws that fasten 2 halves of the casing together, and once we've got that off, there really isn't much in the way of bolts or screws or anything holding it together. Everything's very much sort of pushed together with various notches to make everything work. But as you can see there, that grease hard as you like. So that is where the issue is going to come with the resistance when that motor is turning that toothed wheel inside the pulley system. So once we've got it at this point, what we can do is we can start using various thinners, brake cleaners, stuff like that, and clean all of that old grease out, get rid of all of that old grease that's on there, clean everything up, get it as nice and as new and as clean as possible. And once we've done that, then we will use our own grease, some fresh new grease that will hopefully last a very long time and prevent this kind of issue happening again in future. Now again, it is a bit of a messy job, a bit of a fiddly job, but well worth doing, as this window will work as well as you saw the passenger window working once we've done this. So well worth doing to get the car up and running as good as possible with those windows working as they should. Now once we've done all this, once we've got everything re-greased with modern grease and got it all back together, again, very fiddly process getting it all back together. Everything fits together very compactly, but again, not too bad. And the wire system for the pulleys, that can be a little bit of a nightmare, because it has to be sort of half pre-wound in one particular direction, and it's always worth taking note of this when you take it off the car before you start stripping it down, because you will have to sort of pre-tension the wire on one side so that it can pull it nicely. Now unfortunately, once we've got this back together, you're not going to see much of me putting it back into the car. I mean, essentially it is just a reverse process of what you're seeing taking it out, but it's very fiddly, and I'll be honest, I didn't film a lot of it because of the amount of swearing I've been doing whilst trying to get it done. Right, so we definitely have something going on there. So the bulbs haven't gone, but we definitely have some kind of issue with the indicators. So, trying to sort these indicators, we went up behind here and we've got the flasher relay. Now, we looked into this. To get a new one from Superformance, they wanted about £40 plus VAT. Obviously Maranello's and Eurospares wanted a lot more, but we managed to get this. Now obviously I've already put it in, but just show you the part numbers. This is from a Volkswagen Transporter van, and when looking at the specs between this relay, the original one, and the one we've put in, they're virtually the same, and this one costs £7, and we shall show you in a second, but it has worked beautifully and all the indicators work as they should again. So after replacing that relay, we have good working indicators. Other side. There we go. Working as they should. Well, that is it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like on it, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all on the next one.